Hello and welcome to Standard Chartered presents CNBC TV18's Leadership Collective. I'm Shireen Bhan. As India navigates its way through the challenging times brought on by the COVID pandemic, it has relied on the use of technology to help keep the growth engines moving. Be it work from home, e-commerce, digital payments, and even entertainment, digitization has led to changes in consumer behavior and opened up opportunities to service underserved or unserved markets, improve supply chain efficiencies, bring in economies of scale, and cut down on costs. All of this has been made possible because of the changes brought in over the past decade, with digital infrastructure being built out, a massive reduction in data prices, and a jump in the adoption of smartphones. Now, according to reports, India is likely to have 900 million active users by 2025, with internet penetration at 45% as of January of 2021. India is home to the third largest online shopper base of 140 million, only behind China and the US. The e-retail market is expected to grow to $120 to $140 billion by FY26, increasing at approximately 25 to 30% annually over the next 5 years. This as per a Bain Flipkart report of 2021. UPI transactions have hit a record high of 3.24 billion monthly transactions in the month of July this year, with the last billion transactions being logged in just the last 10 months, driven by the pandemic. E-governance in India has steadily evolved from computerization of government departments to mega missions like Aadhaar, GST, and now the CoWIN platform. So what will digitization mean for India Inc. and the Indian economy? Joining us for this very special conversation are Arundhati Bhattacharya, Chairperson and CEO at Salesforce India, Zareen Daruwara, Cluster CEO for India and South Asia Markets at Standard Chartered Bank, Sanjeev Sharma, the Managing Director at ABB India, Piyush Singh, Senior MD and India Lead at Accenture. Also with us on the program, C.K. Venkatraman, Managing Director at Titan Company, and Pankaj Makkar, the Managing Director at Bertelsmann India Investments. Gentlemen, and Zareen and Ms. Bhattacharya, appreciate you joining us here on the Leadership Collective. Appreciate your time. Arundhati Bhattacharya, straight off the bat to you. What we have seen emerge as the big trend over the last 18 months is how technology has been leveraged to get back to some degree of normalcy, to build in resilience and return to a path of recovery. Give me some numbers on the kind of changes that you've seen, specifically as Salesforce has been instrumental in being able to drive some of these changes.
Well, rather than giving you numbers, let me try and give you a feel of what's happening. If you look at the digital transformation imperative that was there, in about, say, 30% of CEOs earlier, today the digital transformation imperative is there across the board for every single CEO. Because every single CEO has two things in mind. How are we going to have an omni-channel way of not only connecting with your customer, but also with all other stakeholders, including your own employees, your supply chain, your dealerships. So the requirement for actually being able to work from anywhere, being able to perform from anywhere, all of this is something that's driving most of the companies in India today. And I do not see a single CEO who doesn't have digital transformation right on top of their agenda. Now, the fact remains that, saying that we will digitally transform and actually doing it are two different things. Because some people may be digitally already quite mature and therefore able to actually implement it very well. And actually, I see Mr. Venkatraman over here, and I can't but mention that his company was one that started on this path 6 years back with Salesforce. And today he's one of our trailblazing customers. And he can tell his story about how things are in the omni-channel world. But having said that, as I said, there are many others that hadn't started that early, that are starting now. But the requirement for it is being felt across the board. But more than anything else, Shireen, I wanted to say one other thing. That is, while digital has made it possible for the inclusion of the people who were earlier not included, in the sense that we are able to monitor their vaccination and things like that, it has also created a bigger divide. especially in the student population, and where, we have seen that at least a year's education, people in the rural areas or in the deprived sections, they have already missed out. They were already behind, they have gone further behind. So there is a pro and a con to this, and I think we need to work very hard in order to bring the two together.
Oh, you're absolutely right. There are opportunities, but there are also real gaps and real deficits that exist on account of the technological divide. And those are areas and challenges that we need to focus on as we move forward. But I want to get one number from you, Ms. Bhattacharya. You gave us the context. But, on account of what the pandemic has done, what, for instance, has the client addition been for you specifically here in the Indian market? I mean, we've seen what it's done to Salesforce globally. The company has revised its annual guidance upwards. But specifically in India, leave me with a number in terms of, for instance, client addition and where you see spending headed.
So, we don't break out the India numbers from the APAC numbers, so I'm not able to give you the number. But this much I can tell you, that in the 16 months I've been in this company, we have actually doubled headcount. So I came in when the headcount was 2,500. Today it is 5,000 plus and growing rapidly at that. So from that you can guess the kind of growth that we are seeing. Yes, we are seeing excellent growth, absolutely.
Okay, so we'll have to infer the kind of growth that you're seeing in India on account of the fact that you've managed to double your head count. I was trying my best to elicit an India number from you. But let me get Mr. Venkatraman into the conversation, because you alluded to the fact that they were one of the early adopters of digital. And Mr. Venkatraman, let's address that issue. One, of course, is the use of digital technologies on the back end to improve economies of scale on the supply chain side and so on and so forth, and the business transformation aspect. The other is engaging with customers, selling to customers. Who would have thought that, we would be buying jewelry online, or we would be shopping for saris online? What is the digital contribution now in terms of actual sales, and where do you see that headed, given the fact that there seems to now be at least some sort of a structural change in consumer behavior?
Hi, thank you, Shireen. Actually, more than digital, it's as much digital as many new ways of conducting business with customers. For instance, before the pandemic, the whole video calling, as a way of marketing the products and then engaging with customers was, hardly anything in our life. But starting July of 2020, we were starting to do 100 crores per month of sales through video. And that was possible partly because of the technology that we had invested in 5-6 years back, and also because we are a very physical company in the sense that all our salespeople in all our formats have very close relationship with millions of our customers. Our current customer database exceeds 20 million, the loyalty program. And many millions of them are personally known to our salespeople. And therefore, the salespeople were able to reach out to them. And since they knew their preferences as well, because of years of serving them, they knew that this particular collection, Mrs. Agarwal would like this, Mrs. Bahan would like this, and so on. And they would call them and set up a certain call, and about an hour and a half of demonstrating necklaces and pendants and all that on video would get the customer so close to sale. And the last actual purchase would happen in the store, maybe for 15 minutes, taking into account the safety requirements of the times. So this is an example of a big digital revolution that has happened in our business, and it's now become a fairly normal thing. Even though the COVID